Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Iffy, and I'm Iffy. And I feel great, man. I'm not sick anymore. If you've been following me, you know that it's 2 times I had to cancel on Monday for my show because I was so sick. I was so sick. And the crazy part is, I've been feeling sick. It's been feeling like it wasn't going to get any better. And then as soon as I went to get tested for malaria, and it came back negative. It's like my brain had to see that I didn't have it in order for my body start getting better. Which it's like as soon as it said negative and I went home, 2 days later I was feeling fine. But I'm glad because it was a rough sickness. Like I couldn't do anything. I had migraines all the time. I didn't want to eat anything. I was just feeling like crap. So I'm glad to be better. Okay. And the last time we spoke, I said we was going to talk about this TIN that starts in January, and we're going to talk about this TIN that starts in January. Okay. We're going to break that down. So let's get started. So, what's a TIN? I think a lot of us know what a TIN is, right? But maybe some don't because even in the States, we have TINs. Okay. So a TIN is a unique tax number and it's issued by the Nigerian government to individuals and businesses. So, it's basically a tax tracker. It's tracking, how much money you making. That's what it's for, okay? And starting in January, it's going to be mandatory. That's what they say at least. I'm curious to see how this mandatory thing goes. Um and that means for you real estate investors, when you're doing certain transactions after January, they might start asking for your TIN. So the last thing you want is to be in the middle of a transaction and you don't have no TIN to give them because now the traction can't go through. The transaction. See, the sickness is still in me, guys. Okay, so how does this TIN impact you diaspora folks? Okay. Well, opening and maintaining a bank account. So if you have a bank account, you need to get a TIN and you need to update your bank that you have a TIN. And if you don't have a TIN, then there's a chance that after January you will not be able to do transfers without a TIN. And transfers is how most people pay for things here in Nigeria. So like you go to a restaurant, you can run your card or you can transfer the money to the company. You go to a store, you can transfer the money to the company. You hop in a cab, you can transfer the money to the driver. Like that's how we pay for things. So in January, you need your TIN. So you should be working on it now. Okay. Buying land and property, certain registries and lawyers may require your TIN. And like we said, you don't want to be in the middle of a transaction and they're asking for the TIN and you don't have one. Okay. So we want to start working on getting one. Okay. Collecting rental income if you own property. Okay. Having a TIN can help you stay compliant with reporting. Okay. And investing. Okay. You might need a separate TIN, especially when you're doing trust. So you'll need two TINs. And just having a TIN, I think credibility wise, it just looks better, right? Because you have a TIN, so they know you're credible. They can track that number to an actual person, actual company. Getting a TIN. Getting a TIN is it's very easy. It's free. It doesn't take long to do. I have a TIN. I actually had someone do mine for me, but it's only because there's so many things that I have to connect to my business. Okay, my real estate business that we just went ahead and threw TIN in the package deal to get everything done. So yes, it's not expensive. Even if you want to pay someone to do it, it's still not that expensive. You can do it online if you're not physically here. And it's simple. You can go to the Joint Tax Board online portal to do it. It's just like when we do it in the States. When we do it in the States, it doesn't take long either. So, things to avoid or common mistakes to avoid. That would be not to assume that your NIN automatically works like your TIN. Of course, here we go with NINs. Like I have an NIN, but now that we have TINs, that's for tax purposes. Okay, so those are two different things. That's what I'm saying. um, Avoid paying random agents for your TIN registration because it is free and it's not expensive if you decide to have someone do it. So just, if somebody's charging an arm and a leg for your TIN, then, red flag. And if you already own property, make sure your bank or solicitors have your updated TIN. So if you've just gotten it and you have not updated your bank that you've received it, you need to update your bank that you received it. Okay. So, that's it. It's not really a big deal. The biggest deal is just like no one's ever had to have a TIN before, and now you do. So, and it's just another thing to track us folks, track our money. But at the end of the day, if it's required, it's required. What you don't want is January to roll around and you don't have it. And because you don't have it now, you have problems, real estate problems. Most likely, transactions are going to require you to have a TIN. And if you don't have it, then the transaction's not going to be able to process. So you're going to have to go and register for the TIN. And then however many weeks it takes for that TIN to process is how long you have to wait to complete your transaction. So it's November. January is right around the corner. I advise you to start getting your TIN things in line for the new year. That is my advice, okay? And if you find it confusing, if you don't understand, if you need help doing it, you can always reach out to me, to my company, Global Properties, and we will explain everything to you. I can recommend you to someone to help you with it. It's really easy to do it by yourself, honestly. But either way, just let me know. That's it. TINs, no biggie. Everyone's acting like it's a big deal. It's not really. It's a big deal in the sense that they tracking your money and they taxing. They are taxing you. I was just looking up the taxes for the amounts of money that you make throughout the year, and they're taxing. So that is a big deal of how much money they taxing on you as a business. But it's bound to happen eventually, So get your TINs in line and have a great day. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. I will be here next Monday and I will see you then. Like, share, comment. Bye.